Hello, this is John Gully with his Module 4 assignment for strategic planning and thinking. And this is my Explain Everything presentation via YouTube about this week's assignment. The policy that I chose that impacts my organization and is a big part of my life here in the state of Florida is the Step Up for Students scholarship program, which officially is the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship. It is a school choice initiative for the state of Florida. Some people refer to it as a voucher program, but it's a little different than your traditional voucher program, which I'll explain here in the presentation. This scholarship is designed by this organization to empower parents to have different options, different alternatives to the public school. You apply for it. It's a income-based scholarship. If you qualify based on many factors like how many children you have, your economic situation, and you were to qualify for this scholarship, you are basically issued a voucher like product, and you can use this at any school in the state of Florida that accepts these vouchers. These are private schools that have gone through the Step Up for Students protocols to ensure they can accept them, which is, as you can imagine, is an accreditation process that requires certain things be met in order for you to take these students. It is regulated by the state of Florida, so it is a policy. This is not a private organization. The Florida State Legislature is the main governing body, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And it is a scholarship program. When the money runs out for the year, they are done. Throughout the year, we get updates that X amount of money is left, but it's a first come, first served basis for families. And in the state of Florida, it is very controversial for a lot of reasons. I will be honest, I am a little biased. I'm a private school principal, and I truly believe in school choice and the principles of Step Up for Students. But there is another side to this argument. Some people believe that it takes money away from public schools, that it takes students away from public schools, and it's hurting the overall quality of education, that it is taking kids and students' lives and allowing them to go schools and that other words they shouldn't be go to, which doesn't help the schools that they were supposed to go to maintain their success. But again, there's two different sides of this. As a private school principal here in Florida, which I'll talk about here in a second, I am very biased to that side. So the Step Up for Students policy here in the state of Florida is the policy we'll be talking about today. So the Step Up for Students governance organization, they have a governing board that is appointed by the Florida State Legislature, made up of people from all over the state of Florida. Geographically, Florida is a very interesting place. We joke a lot of times you could drive for 8 or 9 hours and you're still not out of the state of Florida. I live all the way at the bottom. It's a very large state. So from the Panhandle all the way through the Keys, Florida is a very interesting place. So governance comes from larger cities like Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, all the way to more rural areas throughout the state. The Florida State Legislature regulates this program and creates the laws and policies and votes on them and whatnot. And the governor of Florida obviously has veto power and can sign these laws into power or veto them and whatnot. But it is a politically charged issue. It comes up every election. The Republican Party is very much in favor of it. The Democratic Party is very much against it. Now, this is not a blanket black and white rule, but that's traditionally how party lines go. The state of Florida has had a Republican governor for quite some time, which has allowed the program to grow and flourish with little resistance from the legislator, with the governor having the veto power in the legislation. So, a little bit of history of Step Up for Students. It started in 1998 with a gentleman from Tampa, Florida, a businessman who wanted to provide scholarships for students who needed them and couldn't afford to go to some of the better private schools. His name was John Kirtley. This program eventually morphed into the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship in 2001. Very small beginnings, only served a small amount of children in some of the larger areas and wasn't available all over the state. But in the last 19 years, this program has grown very much so. I first was a principal in 2011, and the school I was principal at accepted these vouchers, and there was only a handful of students that we used. Nowadays, this program is very large. Approximately 99,000 students every year qualify for the voucher and the scholarship, which can come in many forms. They've started many things over the years. They now have partial vouchers. It used to be all or none, but now, depending on your economic situation, they can give you a partial amount and whatnot. things have changed. It used to be you had to attend a public school for 1 year to even be eligible for the program. That is no longer a restriction, and the process is very easy to apply for and get your decision ASAP. 1,800 schools approximately participate in the program, private schools, and up to date, $3.9 billion has been donated into this program to allow students to receive these scholarships. So. My organization, and actually real quick, I want to go back. I think I forgot a quick point about that $3.9 billion. This money is all, it's called a Florida tax credit for a reason. All of this money is donated from large corporations, large businesses, and sometimes individuals donate money to this program and in exchange receive a tax credit from the state of Florida. Again, that's a very politically charged issue we could talk about for a long time, but 99.9% of all the money that operates this program comes from private companies, private individuals, and corporations. So it is not your traditional voucher program that the state would pay for, which I believe is the case in Indiana and a few other states in the United States. It is funded almost entirely by private corporations. So my organization is here in Fort Myers, Florida, St. Francis Xavier Catholic School. I have 502 students. 66 students are on scholarship with the Step Up for Students, which is approximately 7%. It accounts for about $445,000 I receive in this money every year. So obviously this is a very large chunk of income for our school. We rely 100% on income from our families. We don't receive government money to run the school. There is a $250,000 watermark audit, which we qualify for every year, which requires you to pay for a third-party audit to come in to check to make sure you're doing everything that ensures you to receive the scholarship. One such check is to physically check the students, everybody on the scholarship, to ensure that fraud isn't taking place, and they check our financials and our teachers and things like that to ensure we are living up to the standards of the program. So great opportunity for me as a principal. Families who traditionally couldn't afford, our tuition, which is approximately $6,900. The voucher currently is worth about $6,800. So I use this as a marketing tool for families. Say, look, you need to apply for Step Up. If you qualify, that's going to take care of most of your tuition. So it is a huge opportunity to bring in students for our school, which again, private versus public, wherever you fall, as a private school, this is a huge tool for us to bring in students. So I use the pest analysis process to analyze this policy and how it, mostly how it affects to my school in private schools. So politically, this is a politically charged and motivated issue in the state of Florida. Like I said, every election something comes up. Every few years, a large lawsuit is brought forward to challenge the scholarship policies and to overturn them. It is a very heated topic here in the state of Florida. Again, I'm very biased, but up until this point, none of the lawsuits have gained any ground or had any success at stopping the program. You have the public school versus private public schools. Obviously, not always, but for the majority aren't a huge fan of this because they feel they lose a lot of students that would help them succeed. They feel, again, there's this myth it's taking money away from their students, which it's not. They argue because obviously their budgets are based on how many students they have, but this isn't money they would have had anyways. And again, this is private money, corporate money that has put into this program. So which way the wind blows politically could hurt the school, that's relying on Step Up. Obviously, every election cycle, principals like me get nervous because we don't know what direction the new government could take. And we always have to be cautious not to rely too heavily on this because obviously if the program were to go away, which is more than feasible, it would be immediately, I'd be searching for $400,000 in tuition, or I'd be making some serious organizational changes that could affect people's lives. So. Economically, again, $445,000. This is 10% of my school budget, which is a large chunk of change. Again, we're a school that relies 100% on tuition income. Well, not 100%, we have donations and whatnot, but this would be a major disaster. Not a major disaster, but it would cause us to make some serious decisions if this program were to go away. So moving forward, it could be a weakness, but it could also be a strength if the program is healthy and continues to move on. We can continue to attract more students and provide families with an opportunity to come to our school that wouldn't have before, which would allow us to grow. And I spelt the word strength wrong. I apologize. Socially, again, allows families to pursue opportunities that didn't exist for them. Crossing demographics. The scholarship is not based on your race or anything like that. It's based simply on your economic need. So in areas where poverty exists here in Fort Myers. We have some very large areas of poverty that are dominated by the African American community right near our school. This empowers them to possibly come to our school if they chose to use this route. So crossing demographics socially, I think, is good, adds diversity to the school, allows for students to learn more about different cultures, experience each other's lives and histories in a way that possibly they wouldn't have been able to do if it wasn't for this scholarship. Technologically, things have changed dramatically. Nowadays, everything is online. When it first started, they were paper applications. Now, you can go online and find out if you qualify almost immediately, which, again, if you qualify, then you would move on to the next step of applying for the scholarship. Or it can tell you right away, look, you just make too much money, or you're in a situation where you shouldn't bother applying. Very speedy process. We have an online administrative portal. If the family gives us access, we can look and see where they are along the application process and what's going on. We are paid 4 times a year. Every quarter we receive checks. We still get paper checks. They're talking about doing EFTs, but unfortunately it's still paper. And really all it has to do is the family has to come in and sign that check, and we can deposit that as income. Marketing and access, this allows us to market our school dramatically through Step Up for Students, because they want the program to do well, so they have their own marketing budget and push their program, which we kind of piggyback on, as well as access. It allows access for people to get a hold of it really, really quick. So overall, Step Up for Students policy here in the state of Florida is a very hot topic. Again, being biased, I think it's a very powerful initiative that helps families improve their education, which, in my opinion, education is the silver bullet to the future of our society, our civilization. And I think it's an answer to a lot of the problems that we have today. And this scholarship allows students to have opportunities at great schools that, again, I don't want to badmouth the public schools, but sometimes can provide them with more opportunities than they would at a public school. So for now, it's secure. Governor DeSantis was elected in the last gubernatorial election here in Florida. He is a Republican who believes in this program. So for now, at least the next few years, the program should be stable. But again, the dependency potential for schools that rely on this, smaller schools that have a large percentage of step-up students, it could become a risk and be dangerous. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate talking about this. I enjoy talking about this. This is very much a part of what I do every day, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you.